Good evening, Board of Managers, Mr. Chavez, and district staff. The time is now 6:02 on this 19th day of July 2018, and I call the meeting of the Edgewood Independent School District Board of Managers to order. I'm sorry, the 19th of June. I will call the roll. Vice President Frank Espinosa,
Present.
Secretary Stella Camacho,
Here.
Board Member Timothy Payne,
Present.
Board Member Richard Santoyo,
Here.
Board President Roy Soto, I'm here as well. Let the record show that a quorum of the Board of Managers is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Could everyone please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, one nation.
Honor
Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to Texas state.
We will begin with presentations and discussions. Mr. Chavez, you have the floor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Board of Managers will hear a presentation from Jose Cardenas Early Childhood Center, Ms. Claudia Barrios, Principal, and Stafford Head Start, Perry Smith, Principal. Ms. Dominguez?
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Chavez, Board of Managers, and community. At this time, I'd like to introduce our site director for the Early Childhood Center at Jose Cardenas Center, Ms. Claudia Barrios, to share with you the great things that are going on at Cardenas Center. Good evening, Board of Managers, Board President Mr. Soto, Interim Superintendent Mr. Chavez, and Edgewood ISD community. My name is Claudia Barrios, and I am the site manager, the very proud site manager of Jose Angel Cardenas Head Start Early Childhood Center. Thank you for the opportunity to share how Cardenas is ensuring we are focused on our vision for every child's success in life, Edgewood proud. Now, first of all, I want to share with you some of the campus demographics. Fortunately, not clicking. There it goes. Okay, our campus demographics. This year, we served 361 students. As an early childhood campus, we service pre-K3 and pre-K4 students, and some as early as their third birthday. We service 97 students in the dual language one-way program, and 49 of our students receive specialized support, that being in either the PPCD classroom or through speech services. I'm pleased to share that over the last 2 years, we have improved our average daily attendance, a growth of 0.5 during the 16-17 school year and 0.7 this past school year. In large part, our gains are due not only to the efforts of our staff, but to the support that we have received from the district's transportation and truancy department. Without their support, getting our kids to school would be a challenge. To motivate and stress the importance of daily attendance, we recognized our classes with perfect attendance in our daily announcements. Also, we post class pictures of those with perfect attendance in our social media sites. This has proven to be quite effective. Our families enjoy seeing their children recognized, so much so that we saw increased interactions on our campus Facebook page. The parents themselves were encouraging each other to get their children to school. Because we do recognize that parents are an integral part of their child's education, we wanted them to share in their child's success. Therefore, we invited our parents to join us in several incentives that we hosted on campus, special events that included interactive read-alouds and a magic show. We received great reviews, and it's something we plan to continue for the upcoming school year. Our incentives, recognitions, special events, and activities were possible in part to the additional funds we received for our efforts to improve attendance. I'd like to take the time to thank you, the Board of Managers, for approving those additional funds, which made our incentives possible. They not only motivated our students to come to school, but also resulted in many smiling faces. We utilize various assessments to measure student growth, which includes Lab 3, Circle, and iStation. Today, I will be sharing with you some of our Lab 3 data that showed progress in all areas of skills development within the 7 domains. The results of the Lab 3 provided us with a complete picture of our students' developmental progress that we use to guide our instructional efforts. For example, we have focused on the development of language and early literacy skills that support our district's Lone Star governance of having students reading on grade level. At Cárdenas, our day focuses around literacy. Students engage in 3 big experiences per day, which focus on building background knowledge with early literacy skills. Students participate in interactive morning message, read-alouds, and targeted small group instruction. Here you can see some pictures of the way we support literacy. On the left, a picture of one of our families. I clicked a little too fast. Oh, wow. Sorry. Okay, on our left, a picture of one of our families enjoying a book. We partnered with the San Antonio Public Library's Little Red Wagon program, which increased our students' interest in reading. Children were lined up at the end of the day wanting to get in our cozy little tents along with their parents. On the top right, during our Dr. Seuss weeks, we incorporated various Dr. Seuss books throughout the week. The picture shows our literacy coach actually modeling a read-aloud in one of our classrooms during Dr. Seuss week. And at the bottom right, one of our literacy night events, where we focused on sharing with families strategies that they can use at home to support literacy. Definitely another one of our great turnouts. Here we know that we at Cárdenas, we take a whole child approach to teaching. We work on social emotional skills such as building positive relationships, teaching self-regulating strategies, and building a classroom culture in which students feel part of the school community. We focus on teaching the skills that students need to build positive relationships with their peers and with the adults in their lives. On the left, you can see a picture of 2 of our adorable children putting those skills to use. On the top right, a picture of a wish you well. Know that we strive to ensure that all of our students feel welcomed every single day. Every classroom does a wish you well ritual in which they acknowledge everyone who is in school that day and they send wishes to their peers that are not present. This also supports our attendance focus. And on the bottom right, a class practicing a breathing exercise. This, along with conscious discipline, has helped us in supporting our students' social emotional needs. We practice 4 core breathing exercises that are designed to teach calming techniques. Our students are able to then incorporate these breathing exercises in ensuring that they start their school day ready to learn. In our efforts to prepare our students for success in life and future endeavors, we host an annual career day in which students have an opportunity to interact with the community members and learn about different careers. I'm pleased to share that this year we had 18 careers represented. Here you can see meteorologist Katie Blake, the San Antonio Fire Department, and the San Antonio Waste Management Department. These were just a few of the careers represented. Students were encouraged to dress up as their future career, and pictured we have 2 of our students who aspire to work in the medical field, a future nurse and a future doctor. Now at Cárdenas, students also interact with the Edgewood community. We are fortunate to be in close proximity to one of our middle schools, and for the last 2 years have partnered with the Gus Garcia Junior National Honor Society. They've served as role models and mentors for our students. Gus Garcia students have led read-alouds, assisted with toothbrushing and breakfast, guided students in breathing exercises, and supported with ensuring a safe and welcoming arrival to our students and families. On the top left, we have a picture of the Gus Garcia team, and below a picture of one of the students leading the class in the balloon breathing exercise. Our students really enjoyed interacting with the Gus Garcia students, and we plan to continue this partnership and hope that it will be even more successful as the years move on. Now, this year, we also had the opportunity to participate in the first annual Tech Expo. I am proud to say that we had 2 classrooms represented. The group featured here modeled the use of interactive software that they use daily in their classrooms during either morning routine with the calendar and the technology center. Our young scholars had an opportunity to showcase not only their use of technology, but their presentation skills. They were so excited to share about their use of technology, and I could not be prouder of how well they represented our school. I must admit, I was a bit nervous that they were going to get nervous presenting, but it was not the case. For many of our families, we are the first experience that they have with a school setting. Families are learning about the school structures, and their children are learning how to be students. To engage our families, we provide them with opportunities to volunteer, to participate in parent training, and to join us in events where we showcase their students' work. I'm excited to say that events such as our Book Character Parade and Float Parade each attract close to 600 members of the community. Additionally, we focus on activities that promote the parent-child relationship and provide an opportunity to create meaningful memories. Pictured on the top left is our Fatherhood Initiative. Here is where we aim to bring our father figures into the school experience. On the bottom left, our Mommy and Me event. We had such a high interest and turnout that we actually had to host 4 different sessions to be able to accommodate all of our mother figures. And on the right, our Parent Connection Committee meeting. Our PCC meetings are geared towards making our school better. It gives parents an opportunity to be voice for their children. Parents come to find out what is going on at the campus, ask questions, and provide suggestions to improve our school. We utilize this opportunity to share with parents strategies to work with their children, discuss school readiness goals, and model best practices. Pictured on the top right is one of our bilingual teachers actually modeling a read aloud and engaging our future Cubs. At Cárdenas, not only do we focus on academics, but we focus on making learning fun and meaningful. The best way to learn is by doing and sharing an experience. On the left, you have a picture of one of our students at a Micronauts mission. This year, 4 of our classrooms had the opportunity to participate and attend a Micronaut mission at the Scobie Space Center. Students had the opportunity to learn about space and engage in simulations. On the top right, during our Growing Up Healthy theme, students had an opportunity to sample healthy foods while also developing their oral language and building vocabulary. And on the bottom right, our students engaged in hands-on learning, which focused on the life cycle of plants. Students had an opportunity to prepare the soil, plant seeds, and maintain their garden. This was also another opportunity for us to bring in parents as they assisted with these tasks. Our school has many field opportunities and additional learning experiences for our students, such as the Magic Children's Theater, SeaWorld, the San Antonio Aquarium, Region 20 Science, and the Math Science STEM Show. Here I'm also listing a couple of other events that our students participated. On the top left, we have Tumble Rhythms, which shows students creating music patterns within a drum circle, practicing turn taking, following simple step directions, all while being exposed to different instruments. On the bottom left, Wolf Trap. Here we have one of our classrooms that participated along with Mr. Adam Tudor, a musician that collaborated with the teacher to incorporate the performing arts with instruction. And on the top right, Miss Anastasia engaging our students in Read-Alouds. On the bottom right, the San Antonio Aquarium, where students had an opportunity to see and learn about various animals. These are just a few of the exciting learning experiences that we offer our young scholars. To ensure that we engage, empower, and prepare our students, the staff at Cárdenas participated in professional development to include training at the campus level, district level, Region 20, City of San Antonio Head Start, and Pre-K4SA. Our teachers were involved in monthly PLCs where they focused on enhancing their instructional skills and had an opportunity to share with their fellow colleagues. Teachers also participated in weekly instructional planning sessions in which they collaborated to plan instruction, created resources, and aligned materials to enhance student learning. Shared with you on the right is our class data for the last 3 years. I'm excited to share that we have seen continuous improvement that we attribute to our strategic instructional focus to ensure that all of our students are kinder ready. As our Cárdenas Cubs leave us, they possess not only academic skills, but self-regulation, self-confidence, and a desire to learn. They can learn anything, do anything, and be anything they are kinder ready. I am proud to work alongside such a dedicated team who assembled to ensure a successful year for our young scholars. Now, Board of Managers, Board President Mr. Soto, Interim Superintendent Mr. Chavez, and Edgewood ISD community, it is an honor to serve the community of Jose Cardenas and Edgewood ISD, and I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, do we have any questions? Yes, sir.
Congratulations on the increase in ADA. That's great.
Thank you.
The pre-writing and the language. What is covered in pre-writing and language?
It looks at developmental skills. So we are testing our pre-K 3 and our pre-K 4 students. And so what it does, it looks at the progression of skills that they should know. So for pre-writing, it might start on them how to hold a pencil, and it builds to be able to do the pre-writing strokes and to eventually when they're forming letters.
And the language?
And for the language, the same thing. It looks at how they use language in everyday activities. With the assessment, we get subsets of questions, and they create that final dimension.
And I know we had a lot of pictures of the reading. Is the reading part of the curriculum, I guess, within the pre-writing and language?
It is within the big experiences that we use as our curriculum for instruction. Everything focuses around literacy.
And that's done daily?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
Three times a day.
And the personal and social, how is that measured, or what is that portion of it?
When it looks at the skills that the children have in order to be successful in school. So it might look at their interactions with peers, their interactions with adults. And so it gives us a rating of how they're doing and how they're progressing socially, emotionally.
And how do we rate it to get from a 66 at the beginning to 5?
It's looking at the developmental skills, and so it gives us an average score. So on the chart where I showed beginning of year, end of the year, it's looking at the average score between when they started school to when they ended.
Oh, so at the beginning of the year, we rate them, I guess?
Yes, and we use the same assessment for beginning, middle, and end of the year.
Thank you.
No problem.
So some years back, I would just like to say congratulations to the Texas side. Thank you to you for all the great work you do. But my question is just that it pertains to the policy council. Some years back, Head Start had policy council, and I'm wondering, is that piece still a part of it? And then, if it is still a part of it, do we have any parents serving on that policy council board? Since our funding do come through the city of San Antonio.
Absolutely. Our PCC is part of that policy council. Unfortunately, we don't have a parent representative on policy council. The representative actually comes from Stafford, so the person that was elected. And so they serve on the policy council board at the Head Start offices.
Thank you.
Board members, do we have any other questions?
Mr. Chavez, do we still use sight words?
Yes, we still do. And as a matter of fact, with this particular program, they start off with the sounding pieces. And a lot of the pieces that they work at this area is looking at the social, emotional, and behavior for the students. This is the first time that they come to school. So a lot of the components that they work on are the social pieces. But they also start off with as she mentioned, pre-writing, pre-reading.
And a lot of it is knowing like the sounds, the letter sounds, and that'll build to them being able to be readers. But I am happy to say that some of our kids actually leave pre-K 4 reading already. So it is an accomplishment. We're very proud of them. But it's the dedicated support from the classroom teachers.
They have a very good track record. As she mentioned earlier, that the students are kinder ready, meaning that they're at grade level to enter kindergarten. And we do look at the pre-K program as a dropout prevention program because it brings them up to standard where they should be and they enter kindergarten at that grade level. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Matt? Okay. Ms. Dominguez? Mr. Payne would like to ask one more question.
Sure, no problem.
Ms. Barrios?
How often is the regional office from the Head Start program coming out to do our evaluations?
As far as like for our safe environments or instruction?
Both.
Well, for our safe environments, we do actually get quite frequent visits from the city of San Antonio. And so they will do sometimes, they'll initially do a whole campus review. And then throughout the year, every month and a half or so, they also come and do a spot check. So they might select certain number of classrooms to review. With the data that I shared about the class assessment, that is a one-time, but it's actually raters from SAISD that come and observe our classrooms, and then we go and observe SAISD classrooms.
No one from Dallas, which is our regional office.
At this point, this school year, we did not. I know this upcoming school year, we do have a federal review coming up, so we'll be expecting some visitors.
And that's the one I'm talking.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
next
you.
year, we're slated for the visit from Dallas for the federal
Federal
report,
review.
Federal review.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barrios.
Thank you very much, Ms. Barrios. I appreciate all of your hard work and the efforts of the team at Cardenas Center. At this time, I'd like to bring forward Ms. Carrie Smith for our Stafford Early Childhood Center to share with you the great successes that are happening in their school.
Good evening, Board of Managers, Board President, Mr. Soto, Interim Superintendent, Mr. Chavez, and the Edgewood ISD community. My name is Carrie Smith, and I am the site manager at Stafford Head Start. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and share with you how Stafford Head Start is ensuring the vision of our district. Every child's success in life, Edgewood proud. I'm very excited to be here this evening so that I can share the accomplishments of our staff, parents, and students with you. I'd like to begin by showing you just a little bit of what our campus makeup is composed of. We have 24 classrooms, 20 of which are monolingual classrooms and 4 bilingual classrooms. We also have 2 PPCD classrooms that educate both our 3 and 4-year-olds, and the PPCD classroom is the preschool program for children with disabilities. You can see the breakdown of our 3-year-old classrooms and then our 4-year-old classrooms, and then we do have 3 classrooms that are integrated with both 3 and 4-year-old students in those classrooms. Our enrollment this year was at 396 students, just about a 50-50 breakdown between our pre-K 3 students and our pre-K 4 students. And then you can see that we did have 5 students that were early entry students, and those are students that began the program with us after they turned 3, which occurred after that September cutoff date. Those students ended the year with us, and they will all be returning as pre-K 3-year-old students in this coming school year. 17% of our students are qualified for and make up our bilingual program, and those are served in our 4 bilingual classrooms. And then we have 17% of our population that is served in special education through the PPCD program, as well as in general education classrooms with the support of our speech personnel. Here's some of our LAP 3 benchmark scores in support of the district's strategic goal for literacy, that all students will read on grade level. We work daily on emergent reading skills using our Scholastic Big Day for Pre-K curriculum and also individual student goals. Our assessment instruments begin the very first day of the school year when we send home ASQs and ASQSEs with their parents so that they can complete those in collaboration with the teacher, and we can get an insight into the child that has been at home, what their strengths are, where their areas are of concern, so that we know how to intervene early on at the beginning of the school year. Then we also test all of our students in both pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 with the LAP benchmark assessment. That's given at beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year, just like elementary and middle and high school benchmarks. And you can see by looking at our results, we did have good growth in all 7 of the areas that are measured, but I'm especially proud to share the gains in pre-writing. Pre-writing and fine motor skills go hand in hand as we develop that fine motor use of a hand in order to hold a pencil or to hold a crayon, and then to be able to begin those pre-writing skills of tracing lines, making straight lines and slanted lines and circular lines that eventually turn into letters and numbers and eventually someone's name. All of our students our pre-K 4 students take the circle benchmark, and that test is given again beginning, middle, and end of year, along with iStation data, which is used for individual interventions and small group instruction. I'm excited to share these results where you can see when looking at both our English and bilingual classrooms that we've had some really good gains, especially in those emergent reading skills of rapid letter naming, rapid vocabulary, and then the overall area of phonological awareness. This year, our teachers received some professional development training from pre-K for SA on phonemic awareness, and that stemmed from our instructional rounds that occurred on our campus when some of our elementary principals pointed out that we needed to really hone in on how to teach those phonological awareness abilities and skills for our students, and we wanted to make sure that we prepared our students at this foundational level so that they were ready for success when they moved on to elementary school. I think that that training really paid off, and you can see that we did have some good gains in those areas. And then again, this is also the level, the pre-K 4 level that uses the iStation data for intervention and small group instruction. Literacy is supported on our campus through campus libraries and classroom libraries. Classroom read-alouds are conducted 2 to 3 times per day in every classroom. And if you look at the center of the slide, you'll see one of our bilingual teachers, Ms. Michelle Fuentes, and she's conducting one of her whole group read-alouds. I'm excited to say that we partnered with the SA Public Libraries, and then in the top left corner, you'll see some of our reading tents. We had an entire week in the fall where the library came out and set up reading tents in the front of the school, and each day we had anywhere from 18 to 23 parents that took their child out of school at the end of the day and then selected a book and sat in the tent so they could enjoy some good quality time reading with their student or with their child. We also bring the Magic Theater to the campus several times per year so that we can expose students to productions of books that they are familiar with. If you look in the top right corner, you'll see that that production was the production of The Three Little Pigs. And in the slide right under that, in several of the classrooms, they reenacted the story over and over several times, and they did that in the Pretend and Learn Center. It's always exciting when we invite Miss Anastasia from the Twig Bookstore to come to the campus to read to the children, and in the bottom left corner, you see that on that particular event, she brought along Miss Olivia, who entertained the students while she read to them that day. And then at the bottom center, you'll see an example of a vocabulary word wall that was in one of our pre-K 3 classrooms in support of instruction for that themes unit at that time. We are college bound. Even though we educate the district's littlest learners, we talk about college each day in support of the district goal that every student leaving Edgewood ISD will be college and career ready. Each morning we sign off our announcements by having we invite students to help us state our school motto, which is, at Stafford Head Start, we are college bound. Teachers and students are invited to wear college t-shirts each Tuesday, and they also share their college pride, as you can see in the 2 bottom corners. That's a teacher's pride for where they attended college at UTSA, and then Our Lady at the Lake for Miss Rodriguez. That's outside each one of the teachers' classrooms at the center of their parent board, so that our parents can come and look at our emphasis for college. I'm also excited to share with you that one of our pre-K 4 classrooms, pictured in the middle of the screen, reached out to St. Mary's University and developed a partnership. And so that university provided 17 t-shirts, one for each of the children in the classroom. And on the front it says St. Mary's University, and on the back it says we're college bound. And those kids wore their college t-shirt every Tuesday. If not every Tuesday, almost every Tuesday. And it made a real impact as they walked through the campus, moving to the different areas, and all of the children had on their college shirts. When they came, they brought their mascot, the Rattler, so you can imagine that was a fun photo session, and the kids just had a really good time. It made a huge impression on them and a really good impact. We work on attendance each day to improve it, and I'm excited to share our increased contribution to the district goal. We ended the year at 92.8%, which was a 0.5% increase over the previous year. And during the fourth 6 weeks' time, we received recognition for the most improved attendance percentage at the pre-K level. We focus our attendance each morning during announcements by celebrating and announcing classes that had 100% perfect attendance on the previous day. And throughout the year, we've implemented many different incentives, such as free dress passes, McDonald's food coupons, Peter Piper food coupons, IHOP free breakfast, Dunkin' Donuts coffee coupons to parents in the morning to thank them for bringing their children to school, and just all sorts of things in that nature. At the end of November, we had a special performance for students that had perfect attendance all month long, and I'm proud to say we had 109 students that achieved that goal during the month of November. Students that enjoyed a performance from La Payasita Ole, as she came and entertained and encouraged the students not only to come to school, but to stay in school. And then during the 5th 6 weeks time period, students that had perfect attendance all month long had a chance to win one of 6 4-boxed seat packages to the Missions baseball game, to any game of their family's choice. And then I'd also really like to thank the board for approving the $2,000 award to Stafford Head Start for attendance incentives. We decided to purchase treasure boxes for each one of our classrooms, and then we gave the teachers the autonomy to decide how they would use those treasure boxes to help improve attendance for that last 6 weeks of school. As you can imagine, parent engagement and family engagement is a strong component for our program at Stafford Head Start. We start very early in September with a family night in order to introduce our families to routines, class schedules, and curriculum. We have Making It Better Parent Connection Committee meetings in October, January, March, and May. We use those to discuss school readiness goals, parents' questions and concerns, upcoming campus and district events, and offer parents training opportunities such as Ready Rosie and the Super Reader training classes. This year, we also had Nutrition for Your Heart, Healthy Eating series that culminated in a shopping trip to HEB for all of our families that participated in that training. Parents are encouraged to participate at events on campus, such as our Fatherhood Initiative, which you can see on the left. And I can tell you that every time we've held one of those initiatives over the past 2 years, we've had well over 100 father and father figures attend each and every one to spend some quality time with their children and create a project to take home. This year, we ventured into something new, and on May 10th, we held our first ever Magical Moments with Mom, which you can see on the right. And we had moms and female figures come to the campus to spend some good quality time in the classrooms with their children while they created an activity and then just spent some really good time together. We also support parents through our after-school program by providing them a safe care place for our pre-K 4-year-old students while they continue their work day until 6 o'clock, so that they know that their children are in a safe environment where they've dropped them off that morning with the same staff that they dropped them off with. And then also in the spring, we had 30 families that participated in the FAST program, which is Families and Schools Together, and that was a partnership with Family Services Association. Those families came together for 8 weeks, and they met to share conversation, dinner, parenting challenges, and education on ways to improve their parenting skills. Finally, there are so many campus highlights that I could share with you, but I do have a time limit, so I had to choose just a few. So I'll share some of our big highlights. We'll start with the upper left corner with Career Day. Each November, we hold a Career Day where we invite community members, including our own EISD Police K-9 unit, to come to the campus and share their work experiences and encourage students to stay in school to further their education. We hold a Valentine's Day dance in February in the gym for students and their parents. And in March, we have an exciting day of math and science exploration as community professionals share with our students. In the upper center of the slide, you can see some of our kids on the parade route for our Fiesta Shoebox Float Parade that we held in April. And I'm very, very proud of our track team pictured in the upper right corner. For the second year in a row, they have brought home the district track trophy to our campus. And Coach is here with us, as well as some other members of the staff. Because social and emotional development is critical to our students' continued success, conscious discipline is practiced in all of our classrooms with a focus on positive reinforcement and learning and working together. Each morning, classrooms take time to account for students that are present, identify students that are absent, and then wish them well from their heart. We also take time to begin each day with a breathing technique to remind students to breathe at any time when they just feel they need a break and just a moment to breathe. Our teachers have also received professional development that supports the mission of our district as well as the Head Start program through a partnership with the City of San Antonio and Pre-K for SA. In the top center photo, you can see some Pre-K 3 students that are writing their name, and that is because of the results of techniques that we have used from Handwriting Without Tears. And those little kiddos at that time were 4 years old, and you can see that they have written their name a couple of times, and that's without a model to look at. So they're writing that independently. PLC meetings were conducted by teacher leaders each month to share best practices with colleagues, and our literacy coach, Priscilla Calamaco, held bilingual planning sessions to discuss curriculum strategies, higher order thinking skills, and the implementation of the STEM Scopes curriculum, among many other topics. I'm also proud to share 2 final highlights with you. Michelle Fuentes, one of our bilingual teachers, who you saw pictured earlier in the Read Aloud, was awarded the Jewel Sugarman Award for Head Start's Distinguished Educator for 2017-2018 this year. And also Ms. Dora Maldonado, one of our parents for the past 3 years that I have been at Stafford Head Start, has served as the president of the Head Start Policy Council, the governing body of Head Start, for the past 2 years. As you can see, it's been a really busy year at Stafford Head Start. I have been honored to be associated with such a dedicated staff that loves, supports, and educates the youngest district learners each day. To my distinguished elementary colleagues, we are sending you students that know how to walk in line, how to listen and respond to a story when it's read to them, how to identify numbers, letters, colors, and shapes. We're sending you students that can make friends and express themselves using their words. They can carry their own lunch tray, and they know how to respond during gym instruction. We are handing over the baton to you to continue to support our community of young learners on their path to college. Board of Managers, Board President Mr. Soto, Interim Superintendent Mr. Chavez, and the community of Edgewood ISD, it has been an honor to serve the community of Stafford Head Start and Edgewood ISD, and I appreciate your time very much this evening.
Board members, do we have any questions? That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Mrs. Smith.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Ms. Smith and the fabulous team at Stafford Early Childhood. We truly appreciate her service and the work of that team with our youngest learners.
Item B, the Board of Managers will hear a presentation regarding the Lone Star Governance Monthly Reporting Report for June 2018. Ms. Teresa Salinas.
Good evening, Board of Managers, President Soto, Interim Superintendent Phil Chavez, and Edgewood ISD community. I'm going to be presenting on our monthly report for Lone Star Governance. I'll be covering Student Outcome Goal 1. All students will be reading on grade level in grades K through 3, and we'll also be covering Goal 3, which is on attendance. So for Student Outcome Goal 1, we're measuring kinder through 3rd grade reading on grade level. We had an annual target goal this year of 56%. Goal progress measure 1.1, we'll be looking at grades K through 1, and we're measuring our results based on iStation data for end of the year. Our target goal is 55%. So as you can see, our target goal for this year was 55%, and we've exceeded that goal at 58%. The following is a graph of several different data points. You can see there in the middle in green, our trajectory upward bound. We always like to see that, and that's measuring K through 1st grade. You see that Edgewood historical ISD trend data, and then in the purple right above that, you'll see the student end of the year goals for the last 2 years on where we ended up these past 2 years on iStation. Over toward the right, we have our goals, our student outcome goals. Once again, you can see at 58%, we're almost at our marker that we had for our third year, where we set our goal at 59%. We're going to next look at goal progress measure 1.2. We'll be looking specifically at the percent of students in grade 2. Our annual target was 59%, and we're at 61%. Looking at the graph and the data, once again, our board goals for year 2, we had that set at 60%, so we've exceeded that at 61%. The next we'll look at goal progress measure 1.3, looking specifically at grade 3. Our annual target was 53%, and we are at 55%, which was our second year goal based on our board Lone Star governance goals. So the next thing we're going to look at is attendance, and I'm going to ask Ms. Cindy Trevino, our Executive Director of Pupil Service, who's been working with campuses and leading our attendance efforts, to present the next few slides.
Good evening, Board President, Mr. Soto, Board of Managers, Interim Superintendent, Mr. Chavez. We are going to cover the attendance and monitor the progress measure go 3.2 on attendance rate. Currently, we have our attendance rate is at 93.0. Through the end of June, we did have some struggles towards the end, which we can see that will probably be below that. Currently, we had our goal to be at 93.2 because last year we ended at 93.1. What we're looking at currently is analyzing the data from this school year. We will be applying for a state waiver. We had 3 dates that we're looking to apply for a waiver. December the 8th, we had a bad weather day, which our percentage of attendance declined over 10 percentage points from the past school year, so we're allowed to go ahead and apply for a waiver. So we're going to do December the 8th. Also on February 23rd, we're going to apply for a waiver for a campus. The campus is Wren Middle School. We did have a campus threat that caused some of our students to stay home. We were at 57% this year on that day, so we are going to apply for a waiver again for that. On January the 3rd, we also had a low percentage, and that was due to bad weather. So we're going to apply for that one. That one was at 86.2. So we're looking at making sure that we can address those areas and making sure that we apply for the waiver. We have until the end of July to go ahead and apply for those. Some of the other interventions that we're putting in place, as you can see, the campuses did very well in addressing attendance and making sure they had incentives in place. The awareness obviously was there. The campuses had their own initiatives set in place, making sure that the students were incentivized. Throughout the year, the district office, business office was able to allow us some incentive money to each campus to go ahead and allow for some of that autonomy to be able to address that. We're going to continue to do that, be a little bit more aggressive this year with what we can do and have more personalized gains at the district level. We're actually looking this summer, Ms. Gomez and myself and our truancy officers from the municipal court looking at what we can do to reach out to those students to see what is keeping them from coming to school. We know the 3 areas that we're really looking at is, of course, we had illnesses. Flu hit us pretty hard here at the beginning of the year towards the fall semester. Then we also had school threats, which was a safety. As we all know, the governor has given us a safety plan that we are going to put in place. And we're looking at what we can do to address the social emotional learning, making sure that our kids feel safe while they're here. If they are having some struggles, what can we do as we provide counseling and social work services to our students, making sure that we provide that assistance for the student that needs assistance, but also providing the security to those students who feel like they are not safe at school so that we can make sure and prevent some of these attendance rates that have affected some of the campuses, even though the campuses have tried very hard and have been pretty aggressive, I believe, on making sure that, we're addressing attendance. Another issue that we know kind of impacts our attendance is transportation, which we are looking, I know that there's been conversations and we're looking to apply for a waiver to eliminate the 2-mile radius and looking to collect those students within the 2-mile radius to be able to provide those services to make sure that we can bring all our students in. Some of our students looking at the boundaries are pretty far away from their campuses, and parents either have to walk walk them to school, and they may have, a toddler or a newborn child that will prevent them from going in bad weather days. If we can provide additional services, whether it be right now we're doing additional routes, doing the one route, but looking at adding some routes and also looking at individualized transportation if we can do that. Our truancy department has done it. Our 2 high schools were assigned a suburban. Our department also has a suburban. So whenever students need rides, we want to make sure that we can provide that. But on top of that is making sure what is actually causing the problem, or what is there any other type of resource that we can provide. So we can actually go to the home instead of, sometimes we're calling for parents to come to us. We need to go to them. Because obviously if they're having some struggles on getting the students to school, well, we need to go to them and see what we can do, provide services for them. To include our parent liaisons, our social workers, our counselors, my team, and even the municipal court social workers that we have in place to be able to provide those resources, whether it's helping with the electric bill, helping with rent, helping with, getting them to a medical physician if they're ill, so that we can provide all those resources that are needed. So we're really trying to reach out and have some more targeted interventions. This year we really targeted just kind of in as a whole in the district, but we're really looking at what is really impacting our students. We know at the secondary level, another area that we've seen is that they are disengaged, whether it's because of, maybe lack of interest on, the coursework, or if it's lack of interest on what is actually going on as far as our career and technology piece. So now that we're actually opening it up and allowing them to kind of target the areas that they're interested in, I think that'll impede this area that we're really struggling with. So we're really looking at what we can do all around to help our students to make sure that they're engaged in school, looking at a tier 1 instruction, making sure that the students are actually, they have the resources that they need. So we're really looking at the whole child, and not just the child, but the family and the community. What can we do to make sure that we're addressing all their needs? So we're really looking at coming in and making sure that we provide the services to our students so that we can make sure that they're there. We did start this year an alternative program for our middle school students. And I know I've mentioned this to y'all, but I just wanted to make sure and again highlight that, because we did have 12 students from the middle school that started this pilot program. Since then, we have a total of 10 that have completed will complete the program on Thursday. Those students that have started the program continue to have 100% attendance and have not missed a day since they started that program. So we know that that program has been very successful. With the pilot, we're looking to expand that to probably 30 students this coming year. And we're actually also trying to expand that to our high school students, because we know that that's a struggle. Sometimes kids get discouraged if they're lacking credits, they're staying behind, they're not going to be able to graduate with their peers. So this alternative education program will allow them to get caught up, to kind of give them that motivation they need that maybe they're lacking, so that we can provide them that support and getting them back on track where they need to be for whatever reason something may have happened. But that to us is, kind of not able to go ahead and address that. I think is something that, we've had some struggles with. So that alternative campus, I know definitely will help us with that. So those are really the areas that we're going to concentrate on is, transportation, the safety plan that we're going to put in place, the alternative programs. And then, of course, we can always need assistance with our illnesses, but we have the clinics that come around this year, but we're looking to see if we can get some additional support where we can have, some medical support for our students in-house. So those are some of the areas that we're looking at with our attendance piece for this year.
Hello. I was like, thank you, Ms. Trevino and the team, for looking at the academic alternative. It's really a viable situation. I'm confident those 30 students who are going to be coming in, middle school students, these are, will be successful in their attendance, and also accruing credits throughout the year, such that they can also accrue high school credits to get them on the road to high school.
Board members, do we have any other questions? I do have one.
Yes.
With the implementation of some of these new programs, do you have any idea how that will impact our attendance?
I don't know how much it'll impact our attendance, but I'm hoping that it impacts our attendance. We're targeting those students that have had some continuous struggles, and we see the trend. And so we're wanting to make sure that we target those students first to make sure that we can impact them. For this summer, we're looking at targeting the top 50 students at each high school. At the middle school, we're looking at the top 25 that we can see that we know that we can, kind of struggle with attendance. So we're really looking what is it that we can do to help with that. And I think after we do that, I could probably come back and give you that information on looking at the numbers and how we think it'll definitely impact a struggle. But looking at it, I know that we can get 10 to 15 points, percentage points easily, to help with on a daily basis. Because right now we continue to see those struggles and those numbers continue to increase. So I know if we target those 50 students, that we'll definitely see at least, I say, 2 to 3 percentage points increase.
The idea for the program, we're targeting, as she said, about 150 students. We're looking at approximately 200 students at the secondary level that we could call back, that we've lost in one sense or another. The traditional school is not built for them. They have some challenges at home and personal challenges. And what we find is once they're given these programs and there's some flexibility in the programs and flexibility in attending and accruing credits, they rise to the occasion. So we're looking at approximately 150 students and then 30 from the middle school, so a total of 180. And these are students who have chronic attendance issues, missing more than 10%, in some cases more than that.
Board members? Ms. Trevino, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And here you see just what have been our trends over our journey in presenting this in September and what we've looked like historically. The next slide is our outcome goals, our monthly monitoring report. So we've plugged in all of the data. I know that the next scheduled board meeting will be in August. So we'll be presenting over our student outcome goal 3 over there at the end. And then our constraints, the data has been plugged into our monthly constraints as well.
These particular charts at the end will be also updated. As you know, we're required to post them in the boardroom. We haven't posted on both entrance on the side. Those will be updated.
Board members, do we have any questions?
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. The time is now 6:55 p.m. and the board will adjourn into closed session pursuant to Section 551.071 and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. The board is now in closed session. reconvened from closed session. The time is now 7:57 p.m., and the board will take appropriate action on items if necessary as discussed in closed session. Board members, do we have a motion?
With regards to open session item A, discussion action regarding renewal of legal services contract of J. Cruz and Associates LLC. Make a motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Secretary Stella Camacho moves. Board member Richard Santoyo seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Board members, do we have a motion?
With regards to open session item action regarding termination appeal of Pedro Martinez, I move to uphold the termination of Mr. Pedro Martinez for the reasons presented in closed session.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Secretary Stella Camacho moves. Board member Richard Santoyo seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We will now move to consent items.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to motion to pull item A from the consent agenda items.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Vice President Frank Espinosa moves. Board member Timothy Payne seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
At this time, we will move to the consent agenda items. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
a motion we approve consent agenda items A, without A, B through L, as listed on our agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Board member Richard Santoyo moves. Board member Timothy Payne seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do we have an additional motion?
Yes, Mr. President, with regards to action item number 7, I move to name Dr. Eduardo Hernandez as the new superintendent of.
Excuse me, Ms. Camacho. I believe we were going to address a consent agenda item.
Oh, I apologize.
Mr. Chavez, we have a question regarding the consent agenda item that was pulled. Can you provide us some clarity?
Yes, for clarification, the district will be billed at the rate of 0.0045 for the black and white copies.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve consent agenda item A, consideration and approval of CTWP proposal for a 36-month contract for district copiers, making the correction to the decimal point 0045 for black and white copies.
Do we have a second?
Second that motion.
Vice President Frank Espinosa moves. Board member Timothy Payne seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We will now move to action items.
Okay. Yes.
Do we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President, regarding action Item 7A, I move to name Dr. Eduardo Hernandez as the new superintendent of Edgewood ISD with an effective starting date of July 1st, 2018 for a 3-year term and approve the terms and conditions of his employment contract as presented in closed session.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Secretary Stella Camacho moves. Board Member Richard Santoyo seconds. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. We do not have any additional items on the agenda. Please remain seated after the board meeting is adjourned. I would like to welcome and introduce Dr. Eduardo Hernandez as our new superintendent and ask him to share a few words with us. Board members, do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Board Member Timothy Payne moves. Vice President Frank Espinosa seconds. Do we have any discussion? If we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. On behalf of the Board of Managers, the Edgewood staff, and our community, I would like to welcome Dr. Hernandez as our new superintendent. Before I ask him to come up and tell us a little bit about himself, I would like to share some thoughts with you. Prior to beginning our superintendent search, the board agreed to be extremely inclusive and transparent with every step of the process. We conducted several town hall meetings, inviting elected officials, business leaders, neighbors, families, and our scholars to share what they would like to see in a superintendent, the desired qualities and characteristics. You told us you would like a true professional, a person of integrity, a role model for our adults and scholars, an individual of strong moral character, who treats others with dignity and respect. Other desired traits include a good listener, a loyal and committed servant to our community and scholars. Our scholars asked for an individual that would be able to connect with them, someone with an understanding of their individual challenges. Dr. Hernandez has 19 years of experience as a servant leader. He who believes in results-driven leadership. He employs excellent communication and interpersonal skills. As Chief Academic Officer, he served over 16,500 students, providing result-driven leadership to over 25 principals with the intent of improving student academic achievement, organizational effectiveness, and financial stewardship. He opened his district's first ever early college high school by creating an innovative program and partnering with local colleges, and universities. He has supervised and coached the performance of principals, associate principals, assistant principals, instructional coaches, and teachers. He has developed a framework designed to enhance academic programming, improve campus accountability ratings, and focus on instruction to ensure the highest standards for teaching and learning were firmly in place. He has successfully led campuses through the school improvement process, meeting requirements. He has taught graduate level courses in curriculum and instruction leadership. When asked why Edgewood, Dr. Hernandez replied, "Edgewood mirrors the community I grew up in and have lived in most of my life. He is the son of immigrant parents who lived under similar circumstances as most of our Edgewood scholars. As he drove through our community on one of his visits to Edgewood, he noticed a home very similar to the one he grew up in. He envisioned his parents sitting outside on the small porch waiting for him to come home. He remembers the struggles, the disappointments, doing with less, but always striving for more. He remembers being knocked down, but always remembers brushing himself off, standing up, and continuing to move forward. He mentioned that it's in the getting back up that the character and drive that will propel our young scholars to success is developed. He's a dreamer of dreams and envisions great possibilities. He knows our story, recognizes our Edgewood pride, and is eager to become part of our family. He will inspire and drive excellence with adults and scholars alike. Please help me welcome our new superintendent and leader, Dr. Eduardo Hernandez.
Wow, I don't know how to follow that up, Mr. Soto. That was I appreciate your kind words. Good evening, Mr. Soto, Mr. Chavez, members of the Board of Managers. Buenas noches to the public that's here. I welcome you to this meeting. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity this evening to join this family in Edgewood ISD. Mr. Soto mentioned to you my background, and you were very accurate. Edgewood really reminds me of old East Dallas where I grew up. It really was a place of many struggles, but also many opportunities. So I stand here 19 years of learning how to provide quality leadership, servant leadership to people. But also I stand here having been poured into by a lot of people, starting with my own mother who's here and my family who's up here at the front. I've been poured into by a lot of people, and I take that very seriously. One of the individuals that's here is one of the individuals that coached me when I first became a principal in 2004. Zulema Ortiz is sitting here in the pink shirt. I know she doesn't like attention, but I have to say this. I really do believe in coaching people. I really do believe in pouring into people. We start with our scholars because that's why we do what we do. And then we work on the people side of the business. And as I said to you, the night that we interviewed, or that I interviewed, this is a people-driven business. And I am all about the details of helping people along their journey and getting to know people's journey. People matter, and people will always matter as long as I'm superintendent of this school district. And that's not to say there aren't quality things going on now, but I do want to honor the work that was done here. I want to make sure that our folks are taken care of. I want to make sure that our kids are getting the best education possible. And I can't do that without everybody in front of me and everybody that's standing aside me and behind me. I ask everybody here for prayers because I believe that helps. Among the people that I thank is obviously my maker. I stand here because of his guidance as well. I always believe your steps are guided, and I'm not ashamed to speak of those things. But I will tell you that I take this to be part of my ministry serving children. I was really taken back by the presentations provided by both of our early childhood centers today. It's great to see the quality start that our kids are getting. And so again, I am honored, I am humbled to join this team. I ask each of you for your guidance as we continue forward. And for everybody that I still haven't met, I look forward to meeting you and getting to know your journey and getting to know your story. Because at the end of the day, I think that we all have one thing in common. We want what's best for kids. And if we remember that, then we're going to be just fine. So again, thank you. I appreciate you. And I look forward to serving this community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for sharing this experience with us.